picture is worth 1,000 words. All of us have heard this cliche or something similar to it. In fact, it even came with the slideshow I'm using today, as well as plenty of other slideshows I bet you've used if you've been on Slides Go. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Let's hear that phrase again. It is logically correct. Images can communicate more effectively than words do, but it is scientifically wrong. The more accurate phrase is, pictures communicate 60,000 times faster than text. This quote is taken from Michael T. Parkinson, a spearheader of multi-billion-dollar projects that were made with the use of smart graphics. A pretty credible guy to take this information from, I'd say. Now let me give you a few examples in our daily lives where images communication. Has anyone here wanted to buy a product just because it looks nice? That's a marketing strategy. Which makes you want to donate to a cause more? Seeing a group of starving children in need of our help, or seeing a 2-page long article about it. Although the 2-page long article might represent the problem much more accurately, it is essentially the images that gets us to donate. Okay, but why does all this matter? It matters because we are exposed to visuals daily, and our reliance on them for information is increasing. But at the same time, the camera's unreliability is also increasing. And if we look back at the examples I gave you of images in our daily lives, we can see clearly that influential groups like politicians and business people not only know the power images hold, but they know how to wield it. That means we, the consumers of this visual information, have to be aware of what we're being fed. And that's what I plan on doing today, to equip you with the shield to think critically when faced with a compelling visual, to not get so swayed by the intents of the image. I'll talk about the various examples throughout history: propaganda from politicians, deception from business people, and new technologies. But before I delve into all that, I want to remind us of the simple origins of photography. They were designed to capture reality just as we see it, perfectly on the photographic plate without a flaw in the dimensions or angles. And that is the era where the phrase, "the camera never lies," came from. This phrase was often used by amateur photographers to justify a photo turning out unflattering. In the Sandusky Register in 1895, a photographer recalled, he looked up from the proof at me and said, "Good Lord, do I really look like that?" "The camera doesn't lie about such things," I replied. Although the photographer claimed that the camera never lies, some subjectivity was already showing, because with the different lighting used or with the different angles the photos were taken in, we all know that a person might look different. The portraits were the most commonly used things in its early days, but there were more manipulative uses of cameras as well. In this photo, we see politicians using it for propaganda. The photo is called "The Valley of Shadow of Death." It was taken in the midst of the Crimean War in 1855 by British photographer Roger Fenton. He took it because he was sent by British royals and officials to get the British public on board with the war efforts in Crimea. You might notice a small difference. It was taken in the same location, but there is a slight difference. The difference was, in the first picture, cannonballs were placed in the middle of the road, while in the second one, they were placed in a ditch. The picture with the cannonballs in the middle of the road gained much more attention as it signified British soldiers just passively marching by and getting attacked. It was so popular that it was displayed in the London exhibition, where a press release said, "The photos contained extreme and minute accuracy. They were sworn copies, real evidence." But all of this was untrue, because Fenton, he actually moved the cannonballs to the middle of the road from the ditch, altering the truth of the picture. Similar examples occurred in the American Civil War. In this image, we see a brave Confederate soldier holding a rifle in his arms while dying. A rifle that was placed in his arms. It was to evoke nationalism in people. But it came at the cost of fabricating the photo once again. Despite the terrifying power we saw images hold during this era, we are entering a new era of photography with new technologies such as AI and Photoshop. Let me get a show of hands of who've heard Photoshop scandal cases of the Kardashians, or what you see on social media versus reality photos. Quite a few of you. And that's expected because photo editing is so prevalent in our day and age. Often, the effect it has on us is we feel insecure. Insecure about something that isn't even real. And what's scarier is this has spread to AI technology. Now, AI can find common beauty standards in the algorithm and auto-edit our images. The second use of photo manipulation is through AI-generated images. This photo shows an explosion of the Pentagon Tower, one of the largest office buildings in the world. This shocked investors and led to a small drop in the stock market. Mind you, a fake image did all this. More examples of AI-generated images are Donald Trump's fake arrest or Pope Francis in a YFO coat. These are two very influential figures, and it looks disturbingly real. That means any of us can go on social media and post these images and people will believe it. It just goes to show how strong of an effect it can have on social, economic, and political issues. That was a lot of information I threw at you today, but all I essentially did was show you the progression of how a medium that was made to capture reality accurately turned into one of the least trustworthy tools, with the immoral motives of its holders and new technologies. Before I leave you off today, though, I want to show you one last photo. This is the world's first photographed self-portrait. It was made with the use of the daguerreotype, one of the oldest cameras to exist. The daguerreotype took a few minutes to take pictures, so this poor guy had to stand still for a few minutes just to take a basic selfie. Compare that with us today. We take hundreds of photos in less than a second. We can clearly see the contrast that today we take for granted the camera's easy accessibility and the easy knowledge it offers us. We don't give time to care about its credibility or what effect it can have on us. It makes you truly wonder, is a picture still worth 1,000 words if we treat it with this little value? Thank you for listening to my TEDxYouth talk.